Hey.
And today we have a really special good guest for you guys today. So y'all just kick back and enjoy the talk show, okay? But before I go any further, I'm asking Miss J, if she don't mind bringing our special guest on.
Absolutely. This is a subject that I talk about a lot. Um, so I'm glad we're having this subject. I used to have a credit company where I used to repair company credit scores. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. And so I'm excited that we're going to have it with Mr. Earl Lee Belt Jr. And we're going to talk about credit. We're going to talk about, I'm assuming, because I always want to talk about credit, but we're going to talk about, how to build it, what to do about it. He fixes credit, which is awesome. So we're just going to talk about it. But before we get started about what you should know about your credit and your credit literacy, Mr. Belt, tell the audience a little bit about you.
You good afternoon. My name is Earl Belton, and wanted to definitely thank Miss J, you, and John for this opportunity to be on you guys' show today. It really means a lot to me to have an opportunity to um, allow people to give people information that's needed. Because I mean, information that's shared and is really given from the heart goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So
But to give you, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Tell them a little bit about you.
Well, you know, first off, my name is Earl Belton Jr. I was born on my father's birthday, which is coming up November the 5th, and I just want to say R.I.P. to my father, Earl Belton Sr. Um, I definitely pride myself into becoming someone that I've always wanted to make my parents proud of. So, been entrepreneur for quite a long time. I've dabbled in different areas for entrepreneurship, and now I'm taking a different walk of life, but to help others. And I really feel good about this here, what we're about to talk about today.
Awesome. Now, I think a lot of people really don't understand how scoring works. So, because a lot of people don't realize that, inquiries are only 10% of their credit report. A lot of people say, oh, I got an inquiry, and they all flip out, and so they think that inquiries really make a big difference, but actually, it doesn't as much as people really think they do. 35% of your credit score is your payment history. So let's talk about that payment history.
Absolutely.
Yes, and how important it is to have a good payment history. And even if you mess up, how to fix that payment history.
Absolutely. First and foremost, your credit is your reputation. So, it's you on paper. You know, so and there's so many people who really don't understand that your reputation speaks for the lifestyle that you are going to live. And if you're not taking care of your credit, then you're going to be just like the other 43 million people not living the life of their dreams. So, um, inquiry, you know, inquiries are something you don't want to get too caught up on inquiries. I mean, first and foremost, um, people put themselves in a position where I'm gonna apply for this credit card, or I'm gonna apply for this store credit, I'm gonna apply for this. Every time that you are doing type of thing, it takes us and definitely to lower, each time you do it, you try to credit. So I advise people, don't don't be inquiring too much because most of the time, we go to different things like, well, hey, sign up for this order, sign up for this, you get 10% back, but most of the time we're not laboratory of understanding why their credit is important and what to keep the credit.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of the history because, like, the history plays a major part. And how large your amounts, your balances are. You got to make sure you pay on time, and even if you miss a payment, long as you get back on track quickly, it passes. But if you stay delinquent a long period of time, it does affect you. And also being aware of what your credit score is. It's so many websites now that is available that you can keep account of your scores, so you don't have to, like you said, people applying for credit cards. If you know you got a 550, don't even fill out the paperwork. You know, um,
You know,
and I think that's the big thing: people keeping track of their scores and understanding how they're being scored. Because I think that's where people make the biggest mistakes, because they think, well, I got all these things on my credit that are good, but you can have too much on your credit scores. If your balances are large, that affects how lenders look at you. If your balances are large,
absolutely,
you know what I mean? People don't realize that you can have 100 of them and they're all on time, but if you got 100 of them with $5,000 balances, you're still a risk. So all that affects your
absolutely,
scoring. Yeah, and I think that's what people really need to understand that as well.
absolutely. It's just like this right here. It's just like this right here. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just trying to get you to tell the audience what made you get into it.
Okay, finish your comment, then you can answer John's question, because I know you got something on your mind you want to say. So go ahead and do that, and then answer that question.
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely. Thing is, it's just like this. Man. You know, what people don't understand is that okay, the lenders themselves, people are looking at what bring home and what you have going out.
Yeah, your
Okay,
DTI. Yes,
so
right.
it's just like okay, so if you make you know if you make $3,000 a month and you are spending out more than $2,600 a month, you know they're going to be looking at you. So
That's right.
you have to really really understand that your debt to income pays a real significance into what lenders will give.
That's correct. And that's what you're saying, like living within your means, because a credit is
Absolutely.
because like you talk about the credit cards, it's a disillusion. When people have a lot of credit cards, they think they got money. You don't have money. You have debt. When you can pay cash,
Absolutely. You know,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the thing about for credit itself, you gotta understand how to leverage.
Yes.
And what I mean by leverage, you want to put yourself and your family in a position so that you can build the life of your dreams. It's not about just acquiring a lot of stuff. So
That's right.
I mean, there's people who acquire a lot of stuff, and you're looking at these people and they have oh my, they have the nice home, they have the nice car, and they have the nice life, but
Right.
you don't understand the leverage of the things that they did to do this. And the most important thing is that they took the time to get their credit and their finances together.
That's correct. Yeah.
And so to answer the question, why I got out there, um, I really, was introduced to this opportunity by a good friend of mine, Gary Bradley, and the guys that helped me um, put this together. And for me, I see the opportunity to educate
Absolutely.
to help people improve their financial scenario, to eliminate all the negative things, because most of the people don't understand that, they feel like, credit, I don't want to deal with it, I'd rather have opportunity to give back to the community, and I seen an opportunity to educate people on credit literacy because over 43 million people have a credit score of less than 500.
That is so true. And then when they want to buy a house
And
or stuff like that, they got to pay the in they they got programs, but your interest rates are ridiculous.
absolutely, I mean, Miss J, I mean, there's so many people who don't really understand that, yes, there are programs to help you establish to purchase a home. But like you just said, interest rates are very high.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I tell people, every day. I mean, if you're not at least a 620, most most brokers, most uh, home establishments and things of that nature to help you to purchase a home, they're not even going to look at you if you're not even at 620.
Mm-mm. Now, back in the day, though, you can get away with that 550 because FHA used to have a program, but now they're not even taking that risk anymore, and they're insured loans. So you're
Absolutely.
correct because it's a lot of programs like people like I don't know how yours work, but there's a lot of trickery out there, and people get people in programs, and they really cannot fix or correct anything. They just taking people's money. You know what I mean? And so if you're
Yes, they do.
educated on the program, like you're doing, you're educating people about credit. They can make a sound decision on how they want to go about maintaining their credit or fixing their credit or so forth. But I think a lot of people don't understand that it really it really it's really on them, to make sure they keep that credit score at a decent level. And you're right, especially in our community, we always make credit jokes. Like we'll put the light bill in our kid's name. Can't do that no more, but back in the day you could. You know, um,
Absolutely.
we make little jokes and we make ways around not having um a good credit score. But now, like you're saying, there is so many new rules in place. You have to have a decent credit score just to do about anything. I mean, they're even doing it for like insurances. At one time, they were checking your credit score just to give you car insurance. You know,
You know, I'm gonna,
that's
I'm gonna, I'm gonna
crazy.
say this. So I'm gonna say this, and I really want people to understand that no matter what you do in life, credit is the factor. It doesn't matter. You want a home loan, credit. A car loan, credit.
Want a
You want to
job?
get a credit card, credit.
Want a job?
You want to get an apartment,
Yep,
credit. Your job is even running credit.
they sure
You
are.
know, so I mean, the cell phone, credit. All of these things require credit, and the fact of the matter is that we wasn't taught at a younger age to keep and maintain your credit. We was never taught that.
Yeah, a
We
lot
didn't
of people
have we didn't
wasn't.
have classes. We didn't have classes in school. We didn't have finance classes and stuff. So we didn't know about these things. So once we had the opportunity to get these little credit cards, Pringles accounts, and different other things, so we just took it up on ourselves to just want to look good, but didn't understand that there is a consequence for trying to look good.
Absolutely. That is so true. And I think another mistake that people make, if they have a credit card and they're not using it, they close it. That's a major mistake as far as on your scoring. If you got a credit card and it's not something that you use a lot, maybe use it once or twice, but keep that open because revolving credit and credit cards are a great way to show stability because it's a revolving account.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I notice a lot of because I have friends have done that. They like, girl, I don't use credit card. I'm gonna close it. Don't close it. Buy something cheap, and pay that little. If it costs $20, then pay that $20 off. But if you got the credit card, because it's hard to get them once you close them and you don't use them, other companies don't trust to give you one. So it's hard to get one after
It
that.
really, absolutely, it really skeptical, for giving you another one. And we don't understand that, in this day and age, we must protect our credit. We must protect it. I mean, it's just like protecting this family. We have to protect it because number one, it involves so much. I mean, it's so easy, when you first get started, it's so easy to get it, but it's so easy to tear it up.
Oh, absolutely. Preach that one. It really is. It really is. Because we don't you, like you said, you get it and you don't think about the long term. You don't think about making those payments, and that month where you may run short. Life happens, and you may not have that $150 to pay Macy's. So you know what I mean? And so Macy's not gonna come before the gas bill, the light bill, or groceries. So there go a credit slide.
Absolutely. Because, you know, because we don't think about the future. We don't think about the rainy day. We're only thinking about, how is this going to affect me now? We
Right.
don't think about the later on. We don't think about the consequences. And just like you said, if I had to choose between, gas bill, the light bill, or paying my Macy's credit card, I'm going to choose the light than that.
That's right.
And so
That's real.
and so we put ourselves in these situations because we're not looking at the overall factor of how to manage.
That's correct.
All of this comes from management.
You're right. And you talk about manage, and that's just like going back to not opening more credit cards than you need. A lot of times people got like a whole bunch of credit cards. You don't need you need one good Master Visa. You may need, if you got like department stores, certain stores you just like. So if you got a couple of department stores, but you don't need to have five Visas, three Masters, and a Macy's and a Broadway. Might even open one. I'm going old school. Or Nordstrom's or whatever. You don't need a whole bunch of them because the same thing you could buy with that Visa, MasterCard, you can still go to Nordstrom's, you still can go to Macy's, you still can go to Ross. You don't have to have a credit card for every store you shop at.
Right. You know what? It takes discipline. And all I can finally is, uh, my dad, um, my dad was the first person I seen with the 830 credit score. I've never seen nothing like this in my life, right? And I always wonder, you know, how my dad, you know what I'm saying, had the top flight, top flight sports jacket. You know, I mean, we had a nice living. I mean, it was nice. But the one thing my father taught me is the fact that my father and a couple of my uncles had their own construction company.
Mm-hmm.
And and so my father used to tell me, you know, that as I got older about credit a little bit,
Right.
And my first encounter with credit wasn't even credit. It was my first bank account. Okay. So now my father told me, he said, okay, I'm going to give you a checking account. And this checking account is for immediate things only. If something, you need gas for your car and things of that nature, you can go and get some gas. Okay, so now, I'm big time.
Right, right, right.
My daddy gave me $300 this day. You know what I'm saying? 300, right?
Yeah.
So now let me tell you this. My first purchase wasn't even gas. You know what my first purchase was? Some tennis shoes. You know what I'm saying? That
No
was my first
sense.
purchase.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, so after I blew the $300, this is what my father told me. He said, "Listen, son, if I can't trust you with $300, why would I trust you with 3,000?"
That's
I
right.
could have easily gave you a credit card. Why would I give you a credit card that's attached to my name? Because I knew that you were going to blow it. That was my first education
That's a good lesson.
then, but I
Mm-hmm.
still didn't get it.
Yo, poor baby. Poor baby. Yeah.
You know, and as I grew older, I really understand now the value. You know, I understand the value, and this is the reason why I got off into financial education services is because it's time to educate the people. It's time to really educate people to let them know that just because you made a mistake, you can get a second chance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. This is a question because I know for me, I used to fix people's credit, get it right, and they turn around and blow it again. So and you're like, oh my God, did you not understand what I just told you? So I know you experienced that. I'm sure you've seen that. And so my question would be, because evidently I didn't speak clearly enough. But what would be like, what are some of the things you say to people to make sure that they maintain that healthy credit? Because, like, as you stated earlier, it has an effect on just about everything you do in your life, especially in this society. It's just like having a name, they judge you by your name. If your name is Shaquita, she black. You know what I mean? So if your credit score 500, she black. Or, I've been in places, I worked for the bank for years. And if somebody walk in, they joke, the white girls, excuse me, but that's what they were. I didn't even say it like that. But they would laugh. They go, Miss J, how much you want to bet they got 550? I mean, they would make jokes because when somebody black walked in, they just knew they couldn't help them. And then when somebody walked in with a credit score, they act like it was a history. Yes.
Absolutely. This goes on every day. And what I tell people, first and foremost, um, credit repair is not a fee.
That's
That's
right.
what you got to do. Credit repair is not a fee.
That's
This
right.
is something to help you get back in the good graces, but give you the leverage power being able to live the life. You know, um, first and foremost, I'm proud to be an ambassador. I consider myself an ambassador
That's a good
for
term.
SEN. You know, and an ambassador is somebody who goes out to help people, and this is what I want to do. First and foremost, we have a A+ business ready with the better business.
That's awesome.
Um, we provide different services that allow people to feel comfortable and trusting us to help them to become that credit worthy. Okay, and and the thing about it, once we establish and help people clear their credit, get their credit together, we have other services that can help you maintain to keep your credit up and so that you can continue to have good credit. We have credit, we have smart credit, we have um, another program that will help you to to maintain and keep your good credit, but it will also help you establish credit as well.
And that's good because it doesn't benefit anybody to fix it and not educate them. You know what I mean? You take their money. Well, I fixed it. It's up to you to
Right.
hold on to it. But if you don't understand what they fixed, why was it important for them to fix it, and you turn around and make the same mistake. And I think that goes with the point you just made by educating them about the importance of maintaining what has taken place. This is your second chance. I remember at one time everybody was going out getting the business IDs. Do you remember those? I can't think of the name of them right now. I'm drawing a blank. But instead of fixing your credit, they were running out getting the business IDs and using the business IDs instead of using their regular social security for credit. And so it still wasn't teaching
Right.
anybody
Right.
how to fix their credit because you were just escaping. You were just going around, and your credit still messed up. So it didn't teach anybody
Well,
anything.
I want to ask a question. something to take get my time. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. As you know, Earl, there's a lot of people, especially in your poor communities. They like you in this Jay's age. Like what they do, they go and they get Macy's, they get different little companies. And they got all these credit cards. Now they done lost their job, or either they had some financial difficulties. The company is sending to the collection agencies. The collection agencies hound them, and then they try to go ahead on and work something out with the collection agencies. Then they do all the harassment and everything. They just say, forget it. Now, and it's got collection agency on these on their credit. They got whereas though they got old bills on their credit. Can that stuff be removed?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you don't have to deal with a collection agency. You don't. You right? Because
okay, but I'm asking you a question. Can that stuff be removed?
It depends.
Anything that's on your credit can be removed. Any type of negative item. What we don't really understand is that and Miss J, I know you've heard this, what I'm about to say, you've heard this over and over and over. And I deal with people say this, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, hey, man, all of the negative items, man, is gonna fall off in 7 to 10 years. That's false. Why? First of all, how is something going to fall off if you don't request it to come off? And why would you wait 7 to 10 years to do something about your financial status for you and your family?
But back in the day, though, they used to fall off, though. Back in the day, they did fall off in 7 to 10 years. Back in the day, like in the 80s.
Let's say if you have something on your credit.
Okay.
Okay, it's been on your credit you're supposed to wait 7 years and then request it to you. But let's say if it was on there for let's say 2 years, and you say, well, this is not mine, I'm not gonna pay for it, or forget it, but it stays on your credit report.
Dispute it.
You can go ahead on and do all the inquiries and all what you want with the credit bureaus, as long as those other people respond. And it'll stay on there. But what I'm asking you, can that stuff come off?
Yeah, you can dispute it. Yes, dispute it.
Okay. I'm just gonna, bankruptcy, judgment,
right,
foreclosure,
right,
charge-offs,
right,
repossession, tax lien, student loan, medical bills, all these items can be, and these items give you the inaccurate negative reports.
That's correct.
And what I tell people, every day, and we think everything is a scam. It's just the way they're programmed.
Yeah.
I want you to, everything is a scam. Until you get a group of people that says, yeah, this thing works, then they believe. Okay.
That is so true.
It's just it's about leverage. It's about leverage.
Yeah.
So my thing is that because I took this upon myself, and I wanted to help my community. I wanted to help people, but this is also helping myself as well.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it comes down to really understanding that these things that are on your credit report are damaging. And here's another thing, Ms. J, and you know this too. Half of the people don't even know what's on
their credit. That is so true, Earl. And you know what else true? People don't know that you can write letters and place them on your credit report. And reason why I say that is because a lot of people don't understand. Like, say John was talking about disputing something that was not theirs. Well, you can put on your credit report, this is not my debt. You can actually send this in. This is not my debt. I am working to remove it. So that if somebody pulls your credit report, that question is already answered. It's a lot of little tricks that people don't know that you can do to while you're working on removing the debt or fixing a debt or whatever the case may be. A lot of these companies, you can pay off a little of nothing to get these items removed. Some people are stubborn, so if they don't want to remove it, you can wait the debt out. That's up to you. I'm not saying that you have to do, what me and Mr. Earl is saying, but what I'm saying is that there's ways around making your credit report less scarier to the people that are reviewing it. You can put, once you dispute an item, it is listed on your credit report disputed, so that if somebody pulls it, they know you're fighting that particular debt. They may ask for an explanation, but you can give that explanation. And that's what it means about being educated on what you can and cannot, take off or cannot remove. Because if you know what your rights are and what you are allowed to do, like working with somebody like Mr. Earl and his team, you'll learn, a lot of fears that we have, not we, but a lot of fears that people will have, we be put aside because there is tricks to the trade, just like anything else.
Absolutely, there is. And I want to chime in just on what you said. I mean, and it's about getting education. No, and I hear this. This is the number one thing I hear in Miss Jason. You were in this line of business. You've heard this a million times. Oh man, I can get my credit myself, man. I can do this myself. Well, first and foremost, if you can fix your credit yourself, why ain't you doing it? Because here's the thing about it, fixing your credit yourself. I mean, it sounds good.
It's a lot of
For a
work.
person who, for a person who is intimidated when an objection comes, that would scare somebody off.
Right.
For me, I love when you tell me I can fix it myself. Because here's the thing that I ask. That's what I asked for Miss J. I asked, do you have a family? Yeah. Do you work? Yeah. How many hours a week? 40? Oh, okay. Now, do you have kids? Oh, okay. Now, are your kids, do they play sports or are they in the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever, and everything like that? Oh, okay. Now, are you married, single? When do you have time to fix your credit yourself? You see, you don't have time. You don't have to. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but you don't have the time.
It's very time
Put it in
consuming.
the
Yeah,
hands of the professionals.
you're right.
Put it in the hands of the professionals who can explain.
You're right, Earl. And you can answer one question wrong and blow your whole case. You can say use one incorrect word, because it has happened. Somebody, like you said, people have said that, and I don't know, and they used the wrong terminology and blew the whole thing. Then you have to back. Then they want you to come in and backtrack and fix their mistake. And you're right. It's good to find a professional that you trust. If you can find someone that you
Find
trust,
someone,
yes,
yes, find someone, like I'm saying, SES, we've been helping people for over 10 years, and, we provide, a service to help people get back into leveraging their credit. You know what I'm saying? The thing about, credit is about leverage.
yes,
You know, and 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 we as a community, we as a people, we need to understand that in order to live the life of your dream, it takes commitment, dedication, and sacrifice.
it does. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to let the audience know that you're listening at Uplifting Communities Talk Show with Mr. Earl Bolton. And if you guys
thanks.
want to ask a question, press 1, and I'll let you in. Now, because we only got 9 minutes left on the show. Absolutely. Okay.
So, and so your company educates. So we found that out that you don't just fix credit, you educate. Do you also work directly with the client? Like a lot of times people say, I'll just take care of it. I'll let you know when it's done. Or do you guys say, okay, this is our attack. This is what we're gonna do next. Or we're gonna address A, B, C. I mean, how do you guys break that down so that your client don't feel like they're on the outside looking in? They're part of the process. Because I think when people are part of the process, they appreciate the process a little bit more. So is that something that you guys offer as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna just say this myself. I am not the one that prepares. I'm an ambassador to help put you in direct hands. We have qualified, skilled attorneys that go in and they handle all of the business for repairing your credit. Um, what I actually do is point the people to the appropriate people to help get things done. And yes, it is something that the attorneys, you and the attorneys will be working hand in hand. When you get into the SES protection plan, you get your own website where you'll be able to monitor the process of
That's
what's going
good.
on 24/7.
That's good.
You'll have live one-on-one counseling where you can call in and you can have live one-on-one counseling with actual people who are repairing your credit. So we don't just leave our clients and customers, we don't leave them hanging to
Right.
where, they don't know what's going on, so this is a process and we give people that opportunity that they can monitor what's going on 24/7. But what sets us apart for everyone else is that we get actual results in 45 to 90 days.
So what makes that possible?
What makes it? Oh, you talking about the process?
Yeah, the short term, because there's some debts that just absolutely will not, I shouldn't say will not, but takes a little bit longer to come off. So what makes it possible for you? Because debts vary, and who we pay the debts to, who we owe, and all those type of things, and how some people just don't want to let you off the hook. So how is that possible? Is that all debts or particular debts that you can guarantee the 45 to 90-day removal?
Well, and I'm gonna put it to you like this, Mr. J. I'm not one of the qualified experts or one of the ladies who actually do the process of that. So for me to elaborate on that would be I'll be elaborating on something that I don't know and I don't want to
Oh, that's
put
fair.
all of
That's
that.
more than fair.
But but the one thing that I can say is that okay, some of the other people they do a soft run. And
Okay.
what I mean by soft run, they only attack certain items
Right.
on your credit bureau. Okay. What we do is a hard hit. You know what I'm saying? We do a hard hit, and that's the reason why our overall return rating um, is high is because we go in, the attorneys they go in with their expertise of what they do, and we do a hard hit. So that is how we have been able to get the results that we have gotten in those 45 to 90 days.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because I know that, and it is a difference between a soft hit and a hard hit. And so, I mean, that's a fair, analogy as far as you can, because you're not actually repairing the credit. You're just bringing credit awareness. And so that is that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you don't want to say something they don't do and then it makes them look crazy. Somebody said, well, he said on the radio show you could do this. I want it done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you got to be careful
Absolutely.
about what you
Absolutely.
offer out there. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that is correct. And the one thing, Miss J, about us is this right here is that we don't put anybody on any contract. You know, most of people, you know what I'm saying, um, require and put you in a contract of some sort.
Right.
We don't put you in a contract. You know what I'm saying? So the thing with us is that if you feel like uh, raise your score 100 points, 120 points, 90 points, whatever the case may be. If you
Right.
feel like you're happy with that, then you don't have to. We're not gonna. We're not hounding you to get in a contract with them. because we believe that the proof of what we do is going to keep. And the people who are in the NBS protection program, they're in the program at least 6 months or so just because of the results.
Yeah, because they want a high credit score. Yeah, they want them 820s and 830s.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and it does make a difference.
Absolutely.
It makes a difference because I hope my daughter don't mind, but I put my daughter on blast. She has a real high credit score, and she can just walk in and she can just walk out with a car or walk out with whatever item. She doesn't have, we talk credit worthiness, but when you got credit, when you got good credit, you could just walk in and you can walk out. Just walk in and walk out. They run your credit score. Okay, ma'am, you can finish sign this and have a nice day. And a lot of us, especially in our community, don't experience that often. We usually got to sit there for hours while they're trying to
Right.
find somebody to
And,
finance
and
us.
you said something that's powerful. And this is the reason why I want to have my people in control. When you go to the dealership, you know, I mean, you want to be in control.
That's right.
And that is the reason why, that's the reason why I wanted to take it up on myself so that I can educate our people and just people, period,
Yeah.
to living a life of their dreams. And I mean, and that's being
That's
in
literal.
control.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
real.
That's real. That is real. You're right, John. That's real.
That's real. You know, well, we only got 2 minutes. It's about doing what you want to do, not doing what.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the show. Miss Jay, please start closing this out.
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Earl, if you had one positive thing that you would like to share with the audience about maintaining their credit, fixing their credit, or what credit worthiness or whatever, what would that be?
I would tell anyone that, to live the life of your dreams, it starts with being credit worthy. And how you live makes the decisions that you're going to make in the future. So, you definitely want to take the opportunity to leverage what you have so that you can live the life of your dreams.
Absolutely. And Mr. John L. Brown?
Yes, I would like to thank Mr. Earl for coming on the show. And, I agree with Ms. J and Earl on in our community. Our community definitely needs help. And one of the help that we need is to get our credit back intact. So that way we can have more jobs, create more jobs,
Yes.
live a better life.
Yes.
Okay? So that saying, listen to you, Mr.
Absolutely. And piggybacking on John and Earl, I think a lot of times we take our credit really lightly because we can still get some of the things we want. But it really is important that we have credit literacy. So I'm going to post Mr. Earl's information. And if you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to him. We thank you guys for taking the time to be with us because you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be with us tonight. So we appreciate it. So have a blessed evening and thank you for joining us. And good night and peace and blessings.